All right, welcome everybody. This is It's iBugs Live for January 25th, I think. Yes, January 25th, 2022. This is where we're going to be making red beans and rice. But before we get to the good stuff, let me just make some real quick announcements. I promise we'll get to the food because that's why we're all here, right? So we're iBug, and you can get all the information about what we do and how we do it and where we do it and when we do it if you visit our website at ibugtoday.org, ibugtoday.org. All of our services are free. And so you can register there, and then you'll get notifications of all our upcoming events. We have about 21 every month, including training and social opportunities. Speaking of social opportunities, tomorrow is iBug Night at the Virtual Movies every Friday. We watch a movie, and tomorrow is one of our new releases that came out in 1938. It is called Jezebel. So it's got some great actors, Betty Davis and Henry Fonda. And so it's going to be a really good movie. Come and check it out. We do social time at 7:30, have some music and jokes and so forth. And then afterwards, we have a discussion and trivia to follow. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have this coming week? Well, Monday will be iBug Buzz on this same Zoom conference line every Monday night from 7 to 9 Central Time. We talk about all things related to your iOS devices. And then just trying to think ahead of what is coming up. Tuesday will be on Clubhouse for an hour on the Mac Buzz, talk about your Mac. And then next Thursday will be Star Trek. So we got those kind of events coming up, but the best way is to go and visit our website. All right, so now we are going to go around, and generally what our format is, we'd like for you to stay on mute and then say your name when you want to ask a question or answer a question. And I guess today it'll be questions about how we're going to make red beans and rice. So I'm going to unmute and just tell us who you are and where you are from. And then if this is your first time coming to It's iBugs Life. Okay, so 1 second. All right, so I'm Cynthia in Houston. Who's next?
This is Jose in Houston, and this is my first time at iBuzz Life.
All right, welcome, Jose. Right?
Theo now unmuted.
Who else? Go ahead.
This is Debbie from Georgia. This is my first time on this meeting.
All right, glad to have you, Debbie.
Thank you.
This is Jody in New Hampshire, and Sonia, it's not January 25th, it's August 25th.
Oh my God, did I say January? I'm sorry.
Is that wishful thinking to get rid of the heat wave? Okay.
I don't know what I'm saying. Oh my God.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody. All right.
Okay.
Who's next? I just did that to see if you're paying attention.
Deanna from New Hampshire.
Who's
This
that?
is my first time.
What's your name again?
Deanna from New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Oh my goodness. Do you know Jody?
I do.
All right.
She's the one that informed me, and I'm here.
Oh, well, we're so happy you joined us. Thank you so much, Deanna. We hope you'll come again. All
Thank you
right, who's next?
Dana in Southwestern Ohio, first timer.
Oh, yeah, right. Welcome, Dana. Glad you're here. He's our official joke teller for movie night. So even if you don't like the movie, come and check out Dana's joke. Okay, who's next?
You have to tell it every time, don't you?
No pressure, no pressure. Okay, go ahead. Anybody else?
Yeah, Julie's here.
Julie, welcome. How you doing?
Yeah.
You're in California, right?
Yes.
All right, glad you're here. Okay, anybody
Hi,
else?
this is Dave from near Toronto.
Near Toronto, our chemistry chef. All right, very good. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Anybody else didn't get to say hi?
Ned from Texas.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Anybody else want to sneak in and say hi?
Elisa and Porter.
All right.
Hi,
welcome.
George.
Welcome, Elisa. Okay, who's next? Anybody else?
Hello, Dan from Southern California.
Dan, welcome, Dan. All right, got a good group here. Anybody else? Nope.
Elizabeth from Newfoundland, Canada. This is
there-
my first time on this group.
All right, thank you, Miss Elizabeth. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. She's one of our movie regulars. Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, with that, we will probably have a chance to say hello to any newcomers later on. And I think I just see somebody new. We're just going around and introducing, saying hello, who you are, where you're from. Would you like to say hello? Anybody else? Have to unmute. Okay. I see Miss Vanessa there. Hello, Miss Vanessa. Welcome. All right. So with that, we will hand it over. So just like I said, please stay on mute so we can minimize background noise so we can hear what George is doing. And then he'll be giving us time to ask him questions. All right, with that, we hand it over to George. George, are you there? Better be there. George? George?
I am here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Since I didn't introduce myself at the introduction time, I'll go ahead and do that now, since I did hear that we have people that's their first time here. My name is George. I'm in Houston. I'm originally from New Orleans, but I've been in Houston for about the last, hey, you know what? In about 2 weeks, I would say I've been here for the last 17 years, exactly. Because this coming Monday will be the 17-year anniversary for the reason why I had to move here. But anyway, that's kind of a killing the mood point. So here's what I need to do. Y'all indulge me or bear with me for about a couple of minutes. I need to get into my New Orleans mood. So y'all mind if I do something real quick to get me back in the mood like I'm back in New Orleans? Somebody come on by and say yes.
You're going to start dancing, George?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Check it out.
Okay. Well, as long as we're on Zoom.
Y'all can join in if you want.
All right, everybody. A little low, George. As long as you're in the mood.
Yeah. I'm feeling you now. Hey. Yeah. 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 Okay. Enough of that.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, I think I'm good. I got it out. You know, anybody want to know what that song was called? It's actually called Do What You Wanna. Not want to, do what you wanna. WANNA. By the Rebirth Brass Band. If anybody who had the opportunity to attend the National Federation of the Blind Convention, it was in New Orleans about a little over a month and a half ago. You probably have heard some of that kind of music. So, what we're here to do today, we learn how to prepare some food. So, let's see. Somebody said they like popcorn, so I guess we could learn how to prepare popcorn. No, that's not what you guys come here for. Somebody might want to know how to do a grilled cheese sandwich. No, you didn't come here for that either. I think the topic says how to prepare some red beans and rice, New Orleans style. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. That's what it says.
All right. Okay, so to do that, yeah, I know red beans is probably something that anyone could probably go to the store, get a can of Blue Runner beans and open it up, pour it in the pot, let it boil for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depends on how you want them, like you're doing some mixed vegetables out of a can. But no, this is going to be different. This will be one of those. It's going to be sort of the old, I don't know if I'm going to use the word old fashioned. That might be offensive to some folks, but just I'll say a traditional way of preparing them. That's a kinder, gentler word, which means it's going to take some time. On an average, when I prepare these, and the way I'm doing it, you may have found it in a recipe book, but I did not. I actually asked my mother how you do stuff she told me, and it just stuck with my memory. So some of this is going to be, well, most of it is going to be structured ingredients, but a lot of it is also is going to be sort of, you just know. But there is a comparative exact measurement of stuff when I get into all of that, that we will get into. So, and again, if you guys have questions, I think Sandhya had already announced it, that just come off mute, say your name, and wait to be recognized, and then we will recognize you and allow you the opportunity to ask your question. Now, before you prepare almost anything, it's almost like if you're going to bake something or you're going to prepare a particular dish, you got one of the important things that you're going to need is your ingredients. So the ingredients that I'm going to work with, and again, this is I would say it's my bug's life tonight because I'm a member of iBug, and I'm going to explain how to do this my way, my New Orleans way, and it's going to come out tasting good. I'm originally from New Orleans, as I already stated, and one thing we really thrive on is taste and flavor. So it may or may not be so-called textbook the healthiest way of preparing it, but it definitely will taste good. And of course, it will not kill you because I'm still here. Praise the Lord. All right, so let's get to these ingredients. One thing I'm going to use, one of my favorite kind of red beans to get is by a brand called Camellia, Camelia. I'm on video in the event that we may have had some people chimed in who do have some working vision. And this is the pack it comes in. The plastic is, what makes it different from other beans that I have seen on the shelf is this pack makes a lot of noise. It is very plastic, not that thin plastic. And this is a 1 pound package. It depends on how many people you have in your household, how many you want to feed. That would determine what size package you would get. I got this pack from Walmart. And yes, Camellia red beans, and it's 1 pound, so you do need that. Other ingredients you would need is some, I think I listed as greenery, and what I mean by greenery is the chopped up seasoning that I'm going to use as a part of when I add to the water that is going to be boiling. And it's a mixture of onions. I think it'll be the white ones, for someone asks what color. I don't think it really matters, but I picked a white one. You can use a yellow one if you like, but it's not going to really make that much of a difference. Then we have,
Elisa,
go ahead, Elisa.
sorry to bother you, but what was the pound that you said that you used?
What was the kind, or you said a pound?
The kind and the pound for the
Okay,
rice.
it's 1 pound
Okay.
of Camellia red beans. That's spelled Camelia. Camellia. 1 pound of it. Going back to the greenery, it's going to be, I said, an onion, a garlic, a green onion, and some celery. Interesting story about celery. I know for the most part, from my experience, a lot of the food, whatever it's produce, whatever it may be, is usually the same thing in both languages. What I mean by both languages, English and Spanish. I think when I was in college, the word they used was a cognate, meaning it's going to be the same thing in both languages. So one time I went to the store, I went to Joe V's Smart Shop, which is a local store here in Houston, Texas. And they have been doing a lot of rearranging in the store. You know, I go to the store so much, I almost do not need shopping assistance. I usually can just, if it's something that I know where it's at and I'm not looking for a particular brand name, I can go right to the section, get it, put it in my cart, my grocery cart, and go on. And celery was one of these things that I knew exactly where it was. When I go into the store, I go to the left, go all the way as far as I can go. That's where the produce section is at, and all of the real fresh ones where you have your parsley, your green onion, your celery. And so, but the celery had been moved. And a very nice lady who had very limited English, but she spoke Spanish, was trying to assist me. And I was asking her, I got a few things. She said, I said, where's the celery? And she didn't know what celery was. So I had to go to my translator on my phone. And I said, how you say celery in Spanish? And she said, apia. When I said that, okay, apia. She knew exactly what she knew what I wanted. So I digressed a little bit. So I didn't know that celery had its own word in the Spanish language called apia. And so I have a mixture of all of that. The celery, the onion, the green onion, and the garlic. Another ingredient you're going to need is smoked sausage. I like to buy Hillshire Farm smoked sausage. That's one of my favorites. You may have a favorite. You know, I'm not real to tell everybody you must get this kind. But this is the kind that I prefer. Has great taste. It has never failed me. I've been using it for years. If they don't have Hillshire Farm, then you can go to, I think Eckrich is another kind. And then I think there may be Farmland, all kind of stuff, but I like Hillshire smoked sausage. So you get that. You're going to need different spices. Spices including, and what I use is some Tony Chachere's, a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, and some seasonal and no, I shouldn't need black pepper, but I may need to use some sea salt in case I may have not put in enough, and I don't want to use regular table salt because I don't want it to be too salty, and then I may not need it at all. And of course, you're going to need rice. And I'm doing this by memory. I think that's pretty much the main ingredients. Okay. So how to kind of begin preparing. And Sandia, just a warning, I may jump around in that outline I sent you. Okay. First, before I move further, does anybody have any questions regarding the ingredients that I've listed so far? I want to make sure that everybody got a full understanding and have heard everything.
This is Jody.
Okay, Jody.
Yes, George, is the green onion like a scallion?
Oh goodness, I don't know. I've never
Like
been.
it's long and
It's very
and thin.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
long and thin.
That's what I think of as. Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm technical term. I don't
This is
know.
stranger.
I'm not a chef, but I do know how to cook. Anyway, so yeah. You had a question, Elisa? I heard you call me stranger.
Just kidding. This is Elisa. Celery in Spanish is called apio.
Yeah. That's what I learned from the translator. And when I said that lady knew exactly what I was talking about. I thought celery was celery, no matter what language it was. But good to know that.
Did you find, is there different kinds to put in it?
No, as far as I know, there's only one kind. I just what it feels like. Celery,
okay.
just like green onions, they're long. The green onion is long and skinny, and the celery is long, but it's kind of a lot thicker and fatter than green onion. Now, to prepare the green onion, let me go to that part first. What I do is I take probably about, because when you get this, the green onion is usually in a bunch. You know, they got like a bunch of it in, which is tied up by a rubber band. And you may have like about 5 or 6 of these long stems. And I may take out maybe 2 or 3 of them. I cut off the ends. This is just what I do. I cut out the very end where you may find like some stems sticking out at the bottom. Cut that off. And then I take a knife and I slice it up like probably like about 1/8 of an inch thick, or maybe even thicker than that. I never measured it, but I just know I'd slice it up and put it into a food chopper, and I'll explain that later. I take the celery And if I may use one or two of its stems. Oh, and just like the green onion too, I washed them. I know they probably are washed in the store, but even before the pandemic, just to be healthy and safe, because everyone's probably touching it. That's just the precaution that I take. So I run some water on them for, maybe like 30 seconds to a minute, wipe them down, make sure they're all wiped off. And so before I chop it up and put it into my food chopper, I take my onion and I slice it in half at first. And then I take like a fourth of what I cut half of a half. Depends on how big the onion is too. And then on the end, each end of the onion has like another like stem. I guess it's like when they grow it, decide to pull it off of the branch or the tree or the vine, whatever it comes off of. I chop that off as well. At least I slice it off. And then I begin to, because you can't just stick this whole half onion or a fourth of an onion into the food chopper. You want it to be able to chop. So I take like a knife and I kind of break it up into like small pieces, enough that it can fit inside my food chopper. And just in case we have some people with vision, let me pull mine down out of here. Well, until I find it, I'll get to that later. But it's kind of like a miniature food processor. I guess that's the best way of describing it. It's good for chopping up things real fine. And I use it. This was something that I think I bought it at Walmart during the probably the Black Friday sale, because when I got it, I think it was only like about $6, $6 or $7. So they don't cost much at all. They probably up to maybe 8, 9, or 10 right now. I'm not exactly sure, but that's well, here it is. I had it over here, not in the cabinet. It's a round, the small device. The cup part of it that I stick the greenery in is about the size, I would say, probably of a large, probably like a wide coffee mug, but probably not as tall, because it's round in diameter and connects to the holder by just putting down in place and snap it into place. So let me set the phone down real quick. But I put it on the inside of there. They got this little round in the middle, kind of look like a tub of a washing machine. Think of a big washing machine, but it's very smaller, because it's a round tub. And I'm talking about the kind of, not the most modern machines where they don't have that pole sticking in the middle. The washing machines that did have, and that's what this thing is like. And this part that I'm holding in my right hand right now is a sharp device. It has 2 small blades that spin real fast, and they're real sharp, and it chops up whatever I stick in it. Down in the middle, and I put the lid on top. After I put my greenery in there, I would have probably done this part live, but I looked in my fridge, and I guess all the excess or the extra that I left over, I must have thrown it away. So, but I can show you how loud this thing is. This one is, now I bought this in 2007, 7 or 8, somewhere around that time. So they got some later model one, and it's just called a food chopper. And they're not quieter right now, because I think I bought somebody one as a Christmas present about 5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it's not nearly as loud. But here's what it sounds like. Very, 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 very loud. I think one time I was on Clubhouse and did that, and I was in one of the rooms that had predominantly filled with folks who are totally blind, and like, what is that? What is that? Oh, that's so loud. What is that? So I had to go on mute and turn that off, because it is quite loud. But once it chops it all up, and it takes like about maybe 5 or 6 seconds, you can turn it on and go 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. You can release it, and it's all chopped up fine. I mean, so fine, it's like a bunch of little bitty pieces of crumbs almost. But this is a mixture of the celery, the onion, the green onion, and the garlic. cloves. On the garlic, I make a whole garlic. I can't remember how many cloves it has onto one, but I may use like about 3, depends on how big the garlic is, 3 or maybe 4 of it. Put that all in there, let it chop all up. And the good thing about that, you can use it for several different things. I use it, of course, in my red beans. I use it when I cook cabbage. I use it in my tuna salad. Shouldn't have said that because somebody probably don't like all that need it, but it does brings out a good flavor in a tuna salad. I think one time somebody used mine, they put it in a scrambled egg. So it's kind of like a magic mix. You can use it in a variety of things. I even use it, I may take like a few pinches of it and put it inside like the turkey or the roast that I cook on major holidays. And I think I showed this to one body. They actually, every time they bake chicken, they take a few pinches and put it under the skin of their chicken, give their chicken a nice nutty flavor if they don't want to add too many seasonings. So that's the part about what I do with my greenery. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, I guess I have a very good class. Hope I didn't put anybody to sleep.
Wait, I have one. Sorry, I was trying to get to Markia.
Oh, hey, Markia.
Hi. What kind of chopper is that? And I came in on the part where you were explaining what the greens actually were. So can you go over that again, please?
Sure, don't mind. The food chopper, if you're looking for a name brand, I do not know. I can find it out later. You know, I probably, if we get to a point where I get a moment to call Ira and see if it's written on there. But remember, this food chop I have, it's about 15 years old. But they do still sell it in Walmart. Like I told, like when I bought mine, it was on a Black Friday. I think I paid like about $7 for it. It may cost like about $9 because I think I did like a gift exchange at a office party. And I thought that was a cool thing to give them and they appreciate it. I think it was like maybe like $8 or $9, but it was a lot quieter than what mine is.
No, okay.
And
This is Jody.
Hey, Jody.
Yeah, they've got one called the Magic Bullet.
Yeah, I've had that one. That one's a blender. It's Markia.
What does the Magic Bullet look like? It may be the same thing.
Yeah, same idea. You've got a chopper at one end, and then it's got different size cups too. You can make milkshakes with it. You can chop vegetables with it, and then you screw on the container, and then hit the button, and it does the same thing.
Okay,
this is loud too.
Okay, it might be the same thing. Yeah, because this one is real loud. Like I said, they make them quieter. I've heard of the Magic Bullet, but I've never seen it. And so this may be the same thing. I just know they called it a food chopper. I'm not sure if it was like Black & Decker or, some, what's that? Hamilton Beach. I don't know if it's one of those small appliances places who make it, but I can definitely find that out.
Cool.
Okay, and to answer Marquia's question, the greenery that I've chosen is an onion, and I cut it in half, and I may even cut it into 4, depends on how big it is. And I do break it up because I wanted to make sure it fits inside the chopper, so it can chop it up. I use a garlic. I may use like 3 or 4 cloves of it. I peel off the excess outer layer of the garlic though, because I don't know if there's a rule, but it just didn't look right to me to put the garlic thing in there without having an outer layer. It's like tough, didn't even have the garlic smell. So I don't know if that's a protective shell for the garlic or the outer shell, but I always cut that off because I just want everything fresh. It's just what I do.
This is Markia. I think you are supposed to take that off.
Okay, see, I did that without even just tuition. I don't know if you want to call it tuition because men don't have tuition, it's women. Intuition, let's say. Yeah, chauvinistic. Anyway, but I did that, and I cut up my onion, put it in there. I also use celery, and I may take like maybe 1, maybe 2, depends on how much I need to put in there. And I use green onion, 2 or 3 stems of it, and I wash them. And I even did that before there was a pandemic because, the produce stuff is wide open. Everybody touches it. And so just for me, I just wanted to be healthy and safe. I wash them. I break the celery up by my hand, after it's washed and stick the pieces inside of the food chopper. The green onion, I cut off the very end where the stems are at, and then slice it up and put that in the food chopper. Take like about 3 stems of it. And I explained the garlic and the onion and do all that. And then I stick all of that in my food chopper, count to like 5 or 6, let's say 1001, 1002, so forth. And then I stop it and it chopped it all up real fine, kind of like little pieces of almost crumbs. And that mixture can be used for a variety of things that you are cooking. So now you know my secret to how my beans come out so good. Anyway, I digress.
So, I was gonna ask about something. Oh, so then you just store that in the refrigerator or something?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a special container that was part of a plastic set that I got that's good and square. And when I put it all in there, I put it in this little container, it's flat, and I keep it in the refrigerator. And this should last, with a tight lid. It's usually, well, sometimes I go through it so much that it never have a tendency to go bad. But I think it's definitely stay good and fresh for at least maybe 2 weeks. But mine usually don't last that long. But 2 weeks, it still should be good. And I think when you start noticing that it's time to dump it and probably get some fresh greenery, is it may not smell as fresh, and it may feel kind of slimy around the inner walls of the container. I don't know if that makes sense. It just feel like real slippery. And so when that happens, that's when I think it's time to me to dump that and get some more.
All right, this is Sonia. Just letting you know it's 6:35. Just giving you.
I've been talking that much?
Yeah, it's 6:35. Just letting you know. Okay, we got to get
I
to the
just-
end of the meal. That's all. Just saying. Okay, thanks.
No, I'm fine. Give me time checks like every 30 minutes. I appreciate it. So give me another one that's 7. So let me rush this on. Because I even gotten other ingredients, Marquia that you probably missed is I say I get smoked sausage, I buy camellia red beans, and of course I said rice, and that's it. Now, when I start preparing, I will say, depending on how many people you want to feed, but I live by myself, so it's just me. I think a 6-quart size pot will be big enough. I can probably adjust my size of ingredients and probably could use a 4-quart, but I don't, mine, I don't mind. I don't get burnt out of them that easily that I could, of course they can be good when they're fresh, but I could do probably maybe 2 or 3 more days. And then if I have some left over, I've had a few people who have had my greens before. I'm not saying it to be braggadocious or egotistical, but I have the opportunity of sharing it, which I don't mind because I don't like food going to waste anyway. But a 6-quart pot should be big enough. And what I have here, for anybody with vision, this is actually a 12-quart pot. Now, of course, I'm not going to fill this up to the rim because that's just way too big. And the only reason I don't have my 6-quart pot because one time I went to Louisiana and Tune was going to give me some gumbo and I didn't have like a container to put in, so I brought my pot. And yeah, I did get laughed at because they said, "You're going to bring a pot? How you going to bring that pot back on the bus and don't waste?" I said, "Look, I will work it out. Don't worry about that." But they were nice. They gave me a container that I was able to take. And I said the next time I go back to Louisiana, I will get my pot. But that's been over a year, so I'm really not worrying about that right now. I've just been using it. So I'll take this pack. Let me put my phone down real quick. I'm gonna take the red bean and I'm gonna open them up. And you're gonna hear it fall into the pot. Of course, the pot's been washed and cleaned. I didn't want to do that on live because that's the transfer. What you're hearing is me emptying the pot, emptying the beans into the pot, not empty the pot into the beans. I'm beating on the pot to make sure I got every bean out of there. I don't want no being deprived of being cooked. I want nobody to say, "Hey, you left me. Don't put me in the trash. Put me in the pot." Beans don't talk. That's just me acting crazy. And I'm going to fill the pot up with water. And I'm going to make sure it kind of covers the beans at first. That's the amount of water I'm going to put in here. And now this may not be a necessary step, but this is just a step that my mother taught me. She says, run water over it and then drain the water back out. Because she says it kind of takes some of the either starch or some kind of outer layer or something like that that washes off of the beans that you don't want going in your pot. And what you can do is either have a colander or a sifter to make sure when you empty the water back out into the sink, it just goes, only the water goes out and not the beans. Or since I'm not using a colander or a sifter, I'm using my hand and I'm holding it at the lip, one side of the lip of the pot as the water is running through my fingers. And I got it here because I want to make sure none of the beans fall out into the sink. And I'll do this like about 2 times. Some people do 3, those who really want to be thoroughly clean, but 2 should be enough. Run it up, I'm going to run water over again. Do the same procedure. And once I do this part, well, I'm kind of like washing off whatever maybe on top of these hard beans. I'm going to drain the water again. And the next time, I'm going to fill it up with water. And so it covers the beans probably about 1 moment. It's going to cover the beans probably for like about 2 inches. Because I do want to leave enough room for when they're boiling. But we do this to have the beans to get soft as well. All right, go ahead. Alyssa, you had a question or a comment?
Lisa, I can barely hear you, to be honest.
You can't hear me at all?
Barely.
Everybody else cannot hear me either? Do I need to?
No, you're okay. It was just when you were doing the water. You're gonna go back. All right, okay.
All right,
You're
so,
fine. Everybody else stay on mute. Keep going. Okay.
so what I'm doing right now, I'm filling up the pot with water right now. This is gonna be like the 3rd time, but I'm not gonna drain it this time because I only do this like about 2 times. And this process should take about maybe like 7 more seconds. Because again, I want it to be enough water in here to cover the beans. I'll say like about 1 inch or 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches over. And I do this so it has enough room to boil and for the beans to get soft. Now this process, hold on, let me cycle the almost. Yeah, that should be enough. This process of boiling the water with the beans in them can take about 45, maybe 50 minutes. Just enough for it to get soft. And that's all it'll be doing. So I'm sitting it on the burner. I'm putting the lid. I'm gonna turn the burner on. And this is an electric stove. Probably medium low, kind of like a little bit before it gets right up medium. I could even put it on medium as well. Don't want to go high because you don't want it to boil too quick. You want it to kind of like simmer, sort of. And what's going to happen is, just in case anybody decides to do this, your pot's going to be a little damp on the bottom. So you're going to smell probably either steam or something, whatever. If anything is waste on your burner, if you got an electric stove, don't be alarmed by that. Don't be alarmed by the sizzling you may hear. All it is just a little dampness on the bottom of the pot. Some hot coils are hitting it. And so that's what's going to make that noise. And then even at some point, probably after like about maybe 15 or 20 minutes, depends on how deep your pot is too, the steam will start overflowing and even come through the lid. And it will probably, I'm picking up the wrong phone. Let me get this other phone out here that I was playing music on.
All right, there you go. You sound clearer now. You're gonna.
Yeah, that's because I had the phone up to holding it, and but it was the wrong phone. It was my other
Okay,
phone.
there you go. There you go. Okay, that's fine.
Blind moment. Anyway,
Okay.
so just to kind of backtrack a little bit, what I was indicating is if anybody tries to do this, you may smell like, the bottom of your pot because it's going to be damp. And the steam hitting it is just what's making that noise. It's going to sizzle a little bit, but like mine has stopped already. It only did it for probably only like about 10 seconds. But what's going to happen later too depends on the depth of your pot. At about 15 to 20 minutes, the steam kind of boils over as well, and it will come out and spill onto your burner, making that noise. And the way to prevent that from boiling over, talking about the steam, is lift the lid up a little bit to where you got part of it, the heat exposed. Don't take the lid off completely, just raise it up a little bit, slide it forward till a part of the lid is sticking out. And that will definitely help the steam not boil over and stay inside the pot. But when you first start it, I keep the pot closed. Now, spices, that's what I was going to get to. The only reason I didn't do the spices earlier, I had started, and then I had stopped talking about the greenie. Spices that I use is Tony Chachere's. I also may use some onion powder. Now, I don't have a specific brand. I know they got several different types of spices. Your McCormick, your Lawry's, whatever's your preference. But this is what I grab. I grab Tony Chachere's, which is like a Creole seasoning. It's a mixture of all kind of stuff. If anybody wants to know what the ingredients are in Tony Chachere's, email me and I can type it up for you, or have someone to possibly read the can for you. But I use that because of the flavor. I also use a little onion powder. I use some garlic powder and a little seasoning oil or seasoning salt, something like that as well. Just, blend. And because I do it so much, I do it by just pure familiarity. I know someone will ask, do you use a half a cup? Do you use 1/3 of a cup? Do you use a tablespoon? I know I definitely, since this is a big pot, and I'm using a 6-quart pot, and there's a lot of water, you definitely, probably, if you need exact measurements, and from my experience, it probably would be the equivalent to maybe 3 tablespoons, or maybe half of a 1/4 of a cup. I know that doesn't make sense, and the math may not add up. If anybody who's engineering got that kind of thing to measure it out, that's fine. But I'm sure it's about 3 tablespoons of whatever spices I'm using, all of it, each one, that amount of ingredients. And now I don't add the spices, nor do I add the greenery to the water until that 45 minutes has passed. Because my main objective is to get the beans softened enough so when it comes time to cream them, which I'll explain what that term and technique means, would not be such a difficult process. So, and then I don't want, I want to make sure that there's enough flavor staying in the water as well. So I'll say like after like about 45 minutes, and then what I would do is, now I'm also someone who cooks who constantly, I think sometimes I taste this when I'll be working with a client, but I'm always washing my hands. Every time I do something, and this was even before there was the PSA announcements 2 years ago, it says, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And just if I'm cooking, I just do a lot of washing my hands because I want to make sure not only I'm keeping myself safe, but everyone else too, who may want to try what dishes that I do fix. So after like about 45 minutes or maybe 50 minutes, what I do is I will take a large cooking spoon, a good solid one too. I'm gonna pull it out. And again, I'm doing this in the event because I know this is being recorded, and I know that sometimes they post this on the iBug Today website. And if someone with vision wants to look at it, they can. Maybe I should have made a YouTube video. Sorry about the racket, but I'm looking in my silverware drawer. There we go. This is this big spoon. It's huge. It's solid. It's one that my mother used to use because she didn't like anything thin or lightweight. That's it. It's almost like I'm hammering on something. I just hit it on top of my sink, and that's that's how solid it is. It's good to have something solid because remember when I mentioned about creaming the beans? What that entails is once they have cooked enough, they've gotten soft, so they're probably almost making like its own juice or gravy, and mixed in with all the other spices and ingredients that I put in there. You take the back part of the spoon, the heel part, not the inner part, which may be scooping and serving. And you're going to kind of like mash down on them, either on the bottom or take and use the back part of the spoon and go to the side, mashing the beans to the side or the walls of the pot. Do that several times, mash them down, scoop and put it in there. And that process that's called creaming. That's usually one of the last steps that I do when it comes to preparing beans. Now, another ingredient that I talked about is smoked sausage. This is one of the meats that I use to put in there to give it its flavor. There are some times that when I didn't have my other meats, because I know I mentioned I used to get like several different kinds of meats, but I'm going to talk about smoked sausage right now, if I can get it. I'll tell you what. How about you just pull the pack out of the refrigerator? And it'll be a lot easier instead of me trying to reach in there and grab it, making all this racket. But I have some smoked sausage, since I'm only going to make it a smaller pot. They come in like lengths. And for those who probably came in late, my favorite kind of smoked sausage is Hillshire Farm for when I'm cooking red beans. I like the flavor. I like the smoke flavor. And it has, whatever they put inside this, what they ground it together. Hillshire is one of my favorites. Ethridge is my second choice. But I know there are several different kinds of red smoked sausages that are available. Probably depends on what region of the country you're in as well. I'm not sure. In New Hampshire, since I know we got some New Hampshire folks in here, we got California. Is that brand of a company that serves meat? Is it available in your grocery stores, Hillshire Farm? Have y'all heard of that?
Jody.
Hey, Jody.
Yes, it would be. Can I ask you again? First I was going to ask you if you could use a potato masher to cream the beans. And then I was also going to ask you if you could repeat the name of that first spice that you mentioned, the Tony whatever.
Tony Chachere's, I think is how you pronounce it.
You haven't.
How I'm enunciated doesn't do it justice as how it's spelled.
Okay.
So this is Marquia. It's Tony Chachere's. It's a Cajun like seasoning. If you just look for Tony's, especially if you're in the seasoning aisle, it's a pretty well-known seasoning, so you could probably find it.
Okay, this is Jody. I don't think we're going to find it up in New Hampshire. I was going to get it online.
Alexa,
okay. Especially if you go to Amazon.
how you spell Tony Chachere's?
This is Katrisa. Excuse me. You were talking about the greenery. I was kind of in and out because I was helping a family member. But what are you talking about? The greenery? Did you chop up greens or something in there, or what?
No, greenery is a combination of my green onion, my celery, my onion, and my garlic.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not mustard greens or turnip greens or
That would be a good dish.
cabbage.
Yummy. Okay, so it's onion, garlic, celery, and what else?
Green onion.
And green onion.
Yeah, green onions are like this long stems. They kind of look like celery, but skinnier.
Green onion, celery, garlic, and onion.
Yeah, green onion, and it doesn't matter the color. I know you have like white or yellow, whatever you prefer. Just pick one. And yeah, onion and green onion, celery, and garlic.
Okay. Are you on YouTube? Is this recorded on YouTube too? I can go back and listen.
Sandy, do you guys put up YouTube videos about iBug presentations? I don't know.
I don't know.
I know it'll be on the website ibugtoday.com.
Okay.
Because I know that she is recording it. I do have my video camera on in the event someone with vision is watching me.
Okay.
So I've been making sure I've been in front of the camera.
All right, and we're at 6:53, George. Okay,
Okay, just give me that 7 minutes, 7 o'clock mark.
yep. Almost.
Okay. I'm trying to think, where was I? Oh, the sausage. So Hillshire Farm is in New Hampshire. Is Hillshire Farm on the West Coast? Anybody stealing here from California? Maybe not. I know we had a couple of West Coast folks on here. But anyway, that's the brand I use. Now, there's other meats you can use too. Now, from New Orleans, we also use something called, I think to everybody who's familiar with it, they call it salt meat. I think we've used the term pickle meat, whatever, but it's basically like some kind of like salt meat that is cut into like little chunks or squares, and you fry those. You can fry that for probably about, and that's just for the flavor. That's what that's used for. It helps, give your red beans a good flavor, and you don't have to use as many spices, and you have to use much salt. So it is kind of healthy to use that, and along with your smoked sausages, and also some even use ham chunks. And you take like of the salt meat that I mentioned, you only need like maybe about 3 pieces, 3, maybe 4, depending on how big the chunks are. They usually probably about like half of an inch in diameter, the size of them. It's like chunks. And you can put them in like a skillet. You don't even need grease. You just let it fry. You flip it over. If you have the technique of flipping it over, by using either a spatula or use a fork. If you have that technique of turning it over, let it fry. And it only takes like about maybe 5 minutes. You don't want to burn it. Just fry it enough that it's well cooked and put it aside. You do the ham chunks the same way. And along with your smoked sausage, all of those different kinds of meats go into the red beans. Now, if you don't have that, if you have enough smoked sausage, that's enough too for flavor. And this is why they say sometimes red beans taste better the next day than they do the first day. And that's probably self-explanatory for those who probably are cooks. All of your ingredients have had an opportunity to set in and, be marinated is not the word I'm looking for, but it's been, it's soaking all that together. So, and that's why when you warm them up, and if you warm them up slowly, like on a low cook, it keeps that flavor. You do maintain the flavor. You can warm them up in a microwave as well, but I tend to, if I have the ability of I'm at a place where I can warm up something, either on top of the stove, or I know the common thing these days is to use air fryers and Instant Pots, but microwave tend, by my opinion, dry things out. And sometimes that can take away the freshness of whatever you have prepared. What I'm doing now, everybody, I was running water again because I got a half of a smoked sausage link that I put in a small skillet, and I put water in it. And so it's going to boil for probably about 15 minutes, depends on how high I turn on this burner. Now, this one, I'm probably going to have it on medium, maybe a little bit past medium, because I do want it to boil and boil kind of quickly, but not too quickly that is going to do it too fast or to where it may burn. And this is the way that you can cook this, and you don't have to use any type of cooking oil or grease. This was a trick my mother had learned, and she learned it from her sister, because when it has boiled for a while, and when you take like a 2-prong big cooking fork, or if you're able to use a regular dinner fork that has some great points on it, you stab the sausage a couple of places, just by poking it and going all the way through to the end, to where the juice that has been produced through all the boiling, and when the water runs out, that will make its own grease. No way it'll be frying in its own grease. That's also good for flavor. This process, again, may take like about maybe 15 minutes to do. And you will know when it's done. And you also be able to recognize the smell as well when it's time to either roll it or flip it over so the other side can cook. Once that process has taken place, the sausage, of course, no, I'll get to that later. Once that it has done frying, then I, of course, will take it out and I'll put it on a plate. And then I will take a knife after it has cooled off a bit. I will begin to slice it, put in like bite-sized slices, probably about, I never measured it. I just know the thickness. I would guess might be 1/8 of an inch, or I was about to say 2/8, but that'd just be 1/4. But I would say about the slice size. Have anybody ever sliced like bananas, or sliced like cucumbers, or something like that? Or I don't want to say sliced pickles because it's a little bit thicker than sliced pickles. But am I making sense before I move forward about slicing bananas, slicing cucumbers?
It makes sense to me. It's Markia.
Okay. So that's the size I put in there because now, and it's just good for also putting its flavor into your pot of red beans that you're cooking. You don't want to just stick like a whole link in there. For one thing too, you don't want to stick a whole link in there, putting your pot, because most folks, when you serve the plate, they want that meat on their plate. They want to be able to eat, the meat that is even being cooked with the red beans. So when you have those size slices in there, which I would call like bite size. You know what? About the thickness is a thick pancake. Something coming to my mind right now about the size of the thickness of the slices that I'm making, and they're round. The link is a long link. So when I have sliced them all up, wait. One step before I slice them up. The smoked sausage has also like an outer layer. It's kind of tough. You're able to dissolve it into it, kind of like the peeling of an apple. But I peeled that off. Some people like it stale now, it's just a preference of me. I will peel off all of the skin from the sausage, and then it makes it just easier to eat, once you put it in the bean. So I peeled that part off. Then I began to slice it up into the different slices. And once I have sliced it up, and my beans are pretty cooked, they're pretty almost soft, I start dropping the slices in different areas of the pot, going around, the circle, making sure it's everywhere. And once I have gotten all of the slices in there, I'll take my big cooking spoon and stir it up. That's kind of like towards like the end process. So that's going to take place probably, and I may get to that before 8 o'clock, and I may not, since I ramble so much and then talk most of my time. I clowned a little bit, but that just happens. It's my bug's life. I never grew up. But anyway, anybody got any questions so far before I move on to the next thing I wanted to discuss? All right, hearing none. Either I'm talking good, everybody's asleep. But anyway, now rice. Rice, I will admit, when I discovered something called boil in a bag rice, that's what I've been doing exclusively since I've been cooking rice for probably the last, 20 years or so. There was a time that, you take the old fashioned way of cooking rice, you put in a pot, rinse some water over it, let it cook for like 20 minutes, get a colander, drain the starch out of the rice, and then put a little water at the bottom of the pot with the rice inside this the thing, the colander when I say thing. And then you let the steam kind of like cook the rice, to give it this softness. That's like the old way that I think I was taught when I was little. But the boil in the bag rice, and they got like different brands of that. You got the white rice, you got the brown rice. It's inside of a bag. Some they have family size boxes where there may be like 6 large bags in them. I apologize, I don't have the exact measurement of the size bag. Like I don't know if it's a pound or a half of a pound or whatever that measurement is. And then they got smaller boxes that they may have 4 in a box. So of course that all depends on your household or how much rice you want to cook. And it's real simple. All you got to do is take one of these bags, put it in a pot, run some water over it, with the rice still in the bag, enough that it's covering the whole bag, and set it on kind of like a medium to high setting on your burner, on your stovetop. And probably no more than 10 minutes, maybe even quicker than that, your rice is done. All you got to do now is, turn your burner off, pour the water out, hold on to the bag, grab like a corner of the bag because you don't want the bag to fall into the sink. You just want that water to go out. Use a knife or some scissors to kind of like cut the bag open, pour the rice into your pot. And now here's another thing I do. I take and run some hot water and I run that over the rice because I'm just trying to, be thorough, be clean, have it freshness and fluffy. And then I will use like a sifter or a colander and drain the water out that way as well. Only do like maybe once. And then your rice is done. It used to take like maybe 20 to 30 minute process to cook rice. That takes like I say, 10 minutes or less. Any questions on rice? Okay, somebody raised the hand. Let me go ahead and make this disclaimer that I am, since I'm busy doing stuff, that I may not see your hand raised. So we just ask that you just come off mute, announce yourself, and ask your question. So I think it says Carlo, Sandy, are you still here? Do you know what it's saying that is raising their hand?
Yeah, I see that and I lowered it. So Carl, you can go ahead and just unmute and if you have a question.
If you're on your phone, hit the unmute button. If you're on your computer, do Alt-A to unmute. If you're calling in, do *6. And if you're on a Mac, is it Command-Shift-A?
Yeah, Command-Shift-A, exactly. But maybe it may have been a mistake, but you're welcome to come back whenever you get here, Carl. Okay, and George, this is Sandy. I had a quick comment about rice.
Go ahead.
I'm really excited about what your method is. Have you ever used a rice cooker? I mean, as we eat a lot of rice. Indian food is mainly rice. So my mom uses a rice cooker, but this sounds so much cleaner and easier.
It's very easy. I've never used a rice cooker. I've heard of them. I know a lot of people have asked for them. I asked some clients who want to know, can we get them one? But I've never used it. So I obviously must be a good, appliance because there are a lot of people still use them, but I think this is just so easier and it's a lot quicker. Now,
This is,
go ahead,
sorry.
Marcia.
I was gonna say I've used a rice cooker before. I've also done it the old-fashioned way, and I've also used a rice cooker. So.
This is Jody.
Which way you prefer? Marcia, which way you prefer? The old-fashioned way, the rice cooker, or what I just talked about?
I've never tried boiling a bag rice, but I'm usually making sort of fried rice dishes. So I'm usually looking at Uncle Ben's ready rice.
Okay, go ahead, Jody.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I use, the instant rice is minute rice, where you just add you add the rice to the boiling water. Same thing.
That's it, minute rice. It's just a lot easier. I'm sorry if I heard me moving around because I got a low battery alert, and so I had to go get my portable charger. So that's what all that racket was about. I didn't want to drop off. Okay, can't tell if this thing is on.
This is Shree.
Okay, yeah, it's charging. Okay, good. Somebody else had a question?
This is Shree.
Hey, Shree, how you doing?
Hey, George, can you throw all this in the Instant Pot?
I figured somebody was going to ask that question. And you know what? Matter of fact, I think it was you, Marquia, had talked about maybe there may be an Instant Pot way of cooking this. I don't know. I don't have an Instant Pot. I do promise myself to get one because even if there is a way of doing it, there may be a recipe, instant pot recipe for it, or maybe a way of discovering it. I may try to figure that out. And I'm sure that's probably going to cut down on a whole lot of the time. Just like what Instant Pot has done with a lot of stuff, even when it comes to making, I wasn't talking to you, lady. My A lady just also thought she heard her name. Cooking spaghetti has really cut the time because of Instant Pot. So there may be something for what I am preparing.
So this is Markia.
Mhm.
I've done like pinto beans and stuff like that in the Instant Pot. So I'm pretty sure you could throw all that in the Instant Pot. Let it pressure cook for a minute, cream the beans, and then pressure cook it the rest of the way. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
This is Sonia.
Hey, Sandy.
I just did a Google search. It's there. So I don't know how good it is, but it's there.
All right, you know what? That's my homework. I'm gonna try it. You Google search. I'm gonna Google search for it, which means I gotta get myself an Instant Pot.
This is Sri.
Hey, Sri.
I was just gonna say, we used to cook rice with the rice cooker. Now we cooked it with the Instant Pot, and we think the rice actually tastes better on the Instant Pot than on the rice cooker.
This is so true. This is true. I like Instant Pot rice.
Better. I mean, by not no flavor, just like it's fluffier.
It just tastes.
Is it like fried rice?
No. It just
Okay.
tastes. The rice just tastes a lot cleaner and better.
And then if you want flavor, you can add, some chicken stock or beef stock or what have you. And I think for flavor and fluffiness and just all of it, yeah, the Instant Pot is a lot better.
But is it
I
much?
think,
Go ahead, Sri.
I was going to say, George, I think like the Instant Pot is made for people like me who don't get to go in the kitchen very often. So.
Or me, who goes in the kitchen very often, but is trying to find quicker ways to do things.
Yeah, but see, Instant Pot may take the fun out of creating.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It just takes the waiting out.
Well,
You
don't
still
cook.
can.
So this is a
create
way of cooking hungry. You don't have to wait as long. I take it.
Yeah, it's cooking hungry.
I'm going to get one. That might be my Christmas present to myself or sooner. Because now that Sandia said there's an Instant Pot recipe for red beans, hey, I'm going to. Okay, yeah, that's the question I was going to ask. Yeah, I got questions for you guys, you Instant Pot people. So it's going to, you just throw everything in there. I mean, all of my greenie, all of my meats and all of that in there and pressure cooking it. So that would soften the beans, but I still will have to cream them. Or would I even need to add water?
This is Markia. Yes, you definitely need to add water. So you can, with the Instant Pot, you could probably do it a couple of different ways. If you still wanted to, saute the sausage or what have you, you could do that before you throw them in, or you could even put the beans in, what have you, pressure cook them until they're soft, which is probably a minute or two. And then release the pressure, cream them if you want. Or, like I said, you could just throw everything in there, leave it on for about an hour and a half, maybe, is what it was when I did pinto beans. And then, no, you know what? I've actually done red beans. I'm lying. In the Instant Pot, I actually have. But yeah, you can do that. And then by the time the pressure releases, they'll be soft enough where you can just cream them right in the pot and then go from there.
This is Sandia.
Go ahead, Sandia.
Yeah, so just like she said, you can, there's like a cooking, a saute feature, so you can brown it, like she said. And then also there are lots of different settings on there, so you can,
Yeah, I saw the
addition to
16
timers, it
buttons.
has legumes
There's soup and beans.
and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the 16 buttons.
Well,
Okay.
even the one that I got for Mother's Day, it's a 3-quart. but it has, you know, soup and beans. You can just use that button if you want. But if you want a more timed kind of thing, you can also, you know, time it for however long you want. But yeah, it's a great little tool.
All right, 2 more questions.
Yeah, do you want to
while my
open it up to
sausage is-
anybody else? Yeah, it's 7.
This is Vincent.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let me do that before I ask my 2 questions. Go ahead, Vincent.
When you say cream the beans, is that the same thing as mashing them?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Same thing. And because I think Jody says, would a potato masher work? I don't know. I don't have a potato masher and I've never tried it. I just use like a big cooking spoon.
Okay, yeah, no, I do use a potato masher. I have 2 different kinds. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a question?
Michael,
Okay, who's that?
Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I just looked up, for those that asked, the Tony Chachere's Cajun Spice. It's spelled CHACHERE.
That's it. I know it when I hear it, and I know it when I know I'm probably announcing it incorrectly, but that's it.
But this
Yeah.
is, yeah, nobody ever says it. It comes out as Tony Satra. That's always how I've heard it. So, all right.
But at the same time, I also did a search, the best Cajun spices. And it actually listed McCormick's Gourmet Cajun Spices #1. I don't know who did the survey, and then it had another one
There's
called
nobody from the South.
Yeah. Then it had another one called Slap Ya Mama.
I have that. Slap Your Mama. Now, I don't put that in my red beans. Slap Your Mama. And here's I think I discussed this a while back. I think probably one of the first It's High Buzz Life that we had done. Slap Your Mama and Tony Chachere's container looks exactly alike. I mean, remember at the beginning of this, I said that there are certain things I can go into Joe V's, the one that I frequently visit, and I know where everything is located. And if it's a certain thing that I know what it looks like, I don't have to worry about it. And Tony Chachere was one of these that I knew exactly what it looked like. And so I didn't have to get shopper assistance or even ask somebody what is it. I know what it was. Until I got home. And when I broke the seal and opened up, was about to use it, I like, whoa, I say, wait, this smells different. It does have a different smell. And when I used it, I made a mistake and put some of it on my pork chops. And I'm also a customer of putting black pepper on my pork chops as well. And I couldn't figure out why my meat was so doggone hot. And that's because I had a combination not only of the Slap Your Mama, which is to me, it's a lot spicier than Tony Chachere's, but I had that and black pepper on my meat, and it was really hot. And that was the reason why it was that hot. But those containers, they're short, they're kind of round. Well, they are round, and it has like a spin top on top, for closing and opening where you're going to be sprinkling from. But they made exactly alike. I don't know how they got away with that, because I figure somebody's going to market something. They patent it to where can nobody else design, not even their container like that. But those two things, unless they are made by the same company, I don't know. But Slap Your Mama and Tony Chachere's containers look exactly the same. Two questions that I had. Makira, I hope you're still here, because you're the one with the Instant Pot and you're pressing cooker people. Or did I already ask it? I got it. I almost forgot what it was. So you said throw everything in there. So what about the spices that I sprinkle in there? Does that go in there too, along with my meats and my granaries and the beans itself? Can you just throw all that in there too and pressure cook it? You don't have to stir it. Wait, did she leave?
Yeah, it all goes in and you
okay.
stir it. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, so you stir it in there even with the beans hard?
Uh-huh. Because you're pressure cooking it. and your beans and everything, they're gonna soften a lot quicker because it's gonna be under pressure.
When you release the pressure, do you have to wait a minute? Is it too hot before you can start trying to open that lid up and start, doing the cream, stirring it up again?
Yeah, you have to release the pressure first.
I don't know. When you release the pressure, how long of a wait before you actually take the lid off? I mean, what's that time process?
So you'll hear a little click along with
Mm-hmm.
you will hear that. So
Sorry,
once
I'm
that starts to
instant pot
die
ignorant.
down, no, once it starts to die down, you'll hear a little click, and then that lets you know that all the pressure is released and that you can open the pot.
Okay. What? All right. All right. What's happening now? I hear, you guys may not be able to hear it on here, but my sausage is starting to boil a little bit. It's making its noise. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take it off the charger for a second and get my fork. And I'm going to stab it. I guess if I'm sauteing this, but I may not have to do this either. Sorry, my silence, because I'm poking and I'm trying not to burn my finger, because I probably should be using an oven mitt. That's what I may teach if I'm teaching something, but I guess you could say I'm sort of teaching, but I'm just presenting. And so what I'm doing is I'm listening. And so if you guys hear me silent for a while as I'm poking this meat with this fork, that's the reason why. That's the reason for the silence. Sorry for the lack of descriptive video. And yeah, it's starting to sizzle. This is that's how it got my attention. So probably in less than 5 minutes, I'll probably hear it really starting to fry, which means it's time for me to flip it over so the other side can fry. And then that's when I will take it out. I will put it on a plate, let it cool down a little bit. And Sandy, what time is it? Alexa.
7:21.
7:21. Oh, good. Okay. I did that so this will tell me that my beans have been boiling for a minute, and my pot is so, ouch, that's hot. My pot is so deep that I didn't get my boiling over that I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to take my big spoon and the beans are getting soft, but not nearly soft enough to where I can start creaming them. And then they haven't been here that long. They've only been boiling for at least 45 minutes. I think when I started with it, was like between 6:35 and 6:40 when Sandia had given me my first timestamp. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, take my container of my chopped up greenery, and I'm going to take like maybe, and when I'm saying pinch, my size of a pinch, I take my index finger and my thumb, and I just, I got a whole pile of it in this container that I got in front of the camera now, and I'm going to take like probably maybe like 5 pinches, maybe 6. I'm just going to throw it in the pot. That's one. And I'm using my right hand because I'm holding the phone with my left. And I got the phone aimed at the pot, so you guys probably don't see me. There's 2. And I'm just grabbing a pinch and I'm just throwing it in the water. It's 3, 4. Sometimes I may use my thumb, index finger, and the next finger to probably try to get a little more. That's 5, and I'll just do 1 more. Okay, got all that in there. Put this over here. Uh-oh. All right, I need to pause there for a second because my sausage needs attention. The water has boiled out, which means I'm now gonna take my fork. Grab it, flip it over. Fry on the other side. A couple more holes. And I don't know if the audio is picking it up, probably not. But it's really frying over here.
So this is Sonia.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we can hear it. So the sausage, you said it is like a link, so it's got the skin, right? That's what you mean.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
just saying. Okay, all right.
Yeah, got the skin. And when
But you
it cool
didn't,
off,
it's still one big long piece. You haven't cut it up yet.
I use, since I'm not making it much, I use a half of a link. So
Okay.
no, I haven't sliced it up yet. No, I haven't done it yet.
All right, okay.
I'm getting a plate now. So I can go ahead and put it on. Again, I don't want to burn it. I don't want my smoke detector going off either. We didn't plan for that type of noisemaker in this presentation, because these things do work and they're quite loud. Okay. I'll sit this over here out of my way. Now, I'm gonna take my big spoon and stir the pinches of the greenery that I did. I'm just got my big spoon in here and I'm just stirring it around so it can get the water, for this flavor, which I'm sure if I do an Instant Pot, I probably wouldn't have to do this because it'll be pressure cooked. And I'm definitely gonna go down low that pot. And I hit my spoon on the side of the pot just in case if something was stuck to it, it will fall back into the water. Got a little dish here that I got in the middle of my stove that I set my big spoon in. And that up. Now this is the time where I go in and I get my onion powder, my garlic powder, my Tony Chachere's, what we just talked about, and put dashes of it in it. This is the thing I said, you may take like, if you need exact measurements, I would say 3 tablespoons full of each of those spices, and just throw in there and then stir it up again. And then just wait for, because this whole process of me cooking meat, like I know we're gonna go past this time, it takes like about 2 hours if I want them really good and done and soft and ready to serve to eat. So it's definitely I won't be finished by the time this presentation is over. This is my garlic powder. And again, stuff like this has name brands. Whatever you use is all perfectly fine. I don't even, this may be McCormick or this may be generic, but to me, I put, sometimes I put garlic powder in almost everything, but not everything, just for flavor. And once I get all that in there, I stir it around and I put the lid back on the pot. Right now I'm having a minor blind moment because I took the lid off of my garlic powder and I want to cover it back up. I got it. I couldn't find it. Couldn't remember where I put it in, but I got it. That's one thing too, when you're cooking in the kitchen. This is why, when I did have a household, I told everybody, especially when I'm preparing, stay out of the kitchen. I have my organization where I know I can reach everything that I need to reach. And if somebody move it around, then I don't like searching for it again. So this is why, me preparing meals, I didn't mind to be the one doing it. Of course, it's always nice sometimes when you can have somebody else do it. We just sit back and just smell it and like, is it done yet? Is it ready yet? But
This is Sonia.
go ahead, Sandy, while I look for my lid.
Are you using like a big like spoon or wooden spoon, or what are you using to
I'm
mix?
using a big metal spoon. Well, I don't know if it's metal, whatever it is. It's not wooden. It's not plastic,
Okay.
and,
All right.
and it's big and solid. I don't know the name brand of it, but it's one that that my mom used to use because she always liked real solid stuff. She didn't like anything
Mhm.
thin or cheaply made.
Okay.
Hope I'm not offending anybody, but she just loved quality cooking utensils.
All right.
And this one, you could really knock somebody in the head and probably can leave a good mark.
That's what I look for in a spoon. Okay.
That's I think it is. So I'm gonna sit my phone down for a second. But this is the part where now that my sausage has cooled down enough for me, some folks it may take a little longer than that, but I have somewhat of a high tolerance level of, especially if I'm preparing stuff, touching it, and I'm peeling the skin off. And like I said, this is just a preference. It's not something that's mandatory. It's just what I do because I think it just it's a lot easier to eat and just something that I just would rather do. Now I do know some people, they like the skin on there. If I had a, and I have eaten sausages with the skin on it too, especially like if you go to like those festivals or carnivals and they have like sausages on the stick, they don't peel the skin off of that. I just, since I got it on the stick in the mouth, I just eat the thing.
Sure. It's 7:30, just letting you know.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I'm almost at the part where I can take all kind of questions now because we're at a spot where everything is just doing its own. Except for
Hi,
me.
this is Carlo. Do you use potato peeler to peel off the skin?
Say that one more time.
Do you use potato peeler? When you peel the potato off the skin, you use the potato peeler.
Oh, no. You know what? I've never tried it. I don't even know if that will work. It's something that we can try. Yeah, because I have used a potato peeler before to peel potatoes, of course.
Oh, the potato, yes.
But doing this for the sausage, I don't know if that will work, but anybody else has tried that?
This is Sri.
Who's asking for it? I was talking.
This is Sri.
Shri,
Oh, go ahead, Sri.
So I thought you mentioned that you're poking these sausages while it's cooking, like you kind of like put little holes in it.
Yeah.
So how do you peel the skin off if you got a lot of little holes around it?
Just take like a fingernail and find a spot and just pull, and it just comes off.
I see.
Yeah, just find a spot, and it gives, and then you just pull it, and it just it's kind of like peeling a boiled egg. That you just find a spot. Like even if you crack the egg, you still got to grab a spot, and hopefully the egg would peel good, depending on how it was boiled or what method you used to peel it. But that's what kind of like the sausage is. I'm just finding different spots, and the skin just sometimes comes off in like one long stroke.
This
Like
is
I'm
Sandhya.
almost done now. Go ahead, Sandhya.
So is the purpose of poking the hole so the whole thing doesn't explode, or do you have to poke holes, or what's the purpose?
The purpose of poking a hole is so that because it will fry in its own grease. Because as I'm boiling it, it's creating, its juice. And because, a long time ago before, I guess somebody told us or discovered it, people used to fry their sausages with like a little cooking oil. And you didn't really have to do that. And then it helped is to just go ahead and just boil it in water. And when the water runs out, at least when the water starts boiling real good, you poke holes, so when the water does boil up, it will begin to fry in its own grease.
Ah, okay. Okay, you're gonna come back closer to the phone, right, when you're done?
Yeah, because I stepped away because I was looking for my knife.
All right, okay.
Now, George, can you buy this without the skin then? Because I'm pretty lazy.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they're selling boneless, skinless chicken, skinless, all kind of stuff. So they may have this. It probably is a way of
On Google. That is a new level there, Shri.
Well, my job is just to sit in the chair and Say my grace and eat the food.
Okay, I'm gonna go look on skinless sausage.
Yeah, this
Definitely.
is this is Julie.
Go ahead, Julie.
I thought that outer casing on that sausage, if it's the kind that I have used, I thought it was the plastic that you have to peel off.
I don't think so. I don't think it's plastic because like I said, some people eat it.
Is it like the kielbasa? Oh, you don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because I do cook with that.
Mhm.
There's one I know that has plastic, but okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's like bologna. Like bologna, yeah, that definitely is plastic. So I know that may be a bad analogy, but that's the one thing I think of that has all the outer edge where you do have to peel that off. You nobody eat that.
This is Vincent.
Hey, Vincent.
Also, you don't cook plastic. You know, if you cook plastic, it would melt into the sausage itself, and that would be poison. So I don't. It's sort of a cellophane. It's sort of a paper, but that's something that the system can digest, and something just to hold the meat inside. You know, because a lot of it is more like chopped meat or something. If you don't have a holder, then it will not stay in place. It will be more like just chopped meat.
So this is Markia. So some sausages do have edible casings, i.e. Eckeridge, Hillshire Farm. But then there's also something like, I guess kielbasa, I've never had that, but like Italian sausage. A lot of Italian sausage, when you get it at the store, it comes in these little links, and that does have an unedible casing around it. So, but you can tell that
Yeah,
it's not edible.
This is Julie. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There is distinct difference. You would be able to tell.
This is Sandhya.
Go ahead, Sandia.
For the skinless sausage, I mean, the other thing I know we've made, it comes in like a tube of plastic, and you can
Armor
make
sausage?
you can make breakfast sausage patties or whatever. So there you go. You don't have any skin there. Could you use that?
Oh, you mean like the crumbled sausage?
Yeah, you can make like breakfast patties with it, sausage.
Right, the sausage that you have to form, much like
Yeah, it's in a
an
tube,
Italian
basically.
sausage
It's like
or
a
something.
tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes in a tube or a
Mhm.
roll,
Right.
kind of like ground beef would come in a roll.
No, I wouldn't put that in red beans. So
Yeah, that's ground sausage.
It's ground sausage, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay, there we go. Thank you.
This is Julie, but the ground sausage is very good. You can cook it like you would, ground chicken or ground turkey, like hamburger. It is good for burritos. I mix mine up with
And like chorizo.
yeah, and I mix it with ground beef and make my spaghetti.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go.
George, what's the calorie of this meal?
Sheree, I don't know.
If you're on a diet, only eat a little calories.
Yeah, forget that.
Remember, Sheree, you missed the beginning part of my presentation. I'm originally from New Orleans. We really focus on flavor, and so there's not much calorie counting that goes on there.
Yeah. I
and-
like flavor too, but my stomach afterwards says,
And
what are
I
you doing?
understand we're in an age where everybody's counting calories, they're counting fat grams, they're counting sugars. They're doing too much of this counting, and you're taking the flavor away. But I have no idea. That's another thing. How are calories measured?
Serving size.
Okay. How you determine what's a serving size?
I would say like how much of the meat is in there per serving. Obviously what you're cooking is not just a one meal, right? It's a multiple meal, right?
Correct.
So I would probably just take all that and divide it by your serving.
You was about to say
Well,
something?
but sorry, this is Markia, but you're going to be eating it all at once. It's like one big pot of something.
Oh, I thought it was,
So-
so it's not one, it's one meal, or is it a meal that he's going to have today and later?
No. This is red beans and rice, which means this is like I guess the main entree would be like I may have like some chicken, or I may have a pork chop, or I may not have that at all. But most common that somebody may have red beans and rice with some fried chicken. Now, as far as like the potted red beans, how many calories is this? I do not know. And then again, what determines a serving size? Is it like you take a cup of the beans and that's a serving, or is it one big tablespoon or a cooking spoon? Is that a serving? How do you measure serving?
This is Vincent.
Yes, Vincent.
It's usually a cup, so it's about 8 ounces. But then again, because all the different ingredients that are in there, there will be an interesting calorie count for that.
Okay. And don't get me
What-
wrong, Sri, I'm not complaining at all. I just, it's fun to me. The question is a very good question you asked. I just am one of those never paid attention, and I just walk a lot. I think that's what saved me. That's why I don't gain a tremendous amount of weight, because I do a lot of walking. And not that I do walking on purpose, it's just because of the lifestyle I live, I do a lot of walking.
This is Vincent to comment on spices.
Yes, sir.
The one thing that I do, because I've made that mistake a few times, is I add the spices. I rather add less of any spice, and that includes salt, whatever. If I'm using garlic powder or onion powder or anything, any spice, pepper, and things like that, I rather put little of it and taste, mix it, and get the flavor of it, and then add, but based on taste.
Okay. Vincent, what part of the country are you from? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from New Jersey, but I'm originally from Mexico.
Okay. Okay, just curious. What I'm
Well,
doing
this
now,
is
guys.
Sri.
Okay, hold on, Sri. What I'm
No, no,
doing now,
okay.
the sausage that I have chopped up and sliced up, I'm now adding it to, I should have been pointing the camera at that instead of pointing at me. But I'm dropping the slices into the water right now that I've added my greenery. I've added my spices. And once I get all, because you're making it here, like just drop it in there. It's kind of like, this is a big pot, so I'm just throwing it in there. And what I'm going to do, once I get it all in here, I'm going to stir it. And what I also want to point out, because just in case the visual people, or if there is someone, I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, that when I was slicing the sausage, if there was one or two that didn't come out halfway even, I didn't use it as one I would throw in the pot. I ate it. So, because the sausage smells good, it also tastes good. I mean, I've used the sausage when I don't have bacon. I make like a sausage and egg sandwich out of this type of sausage. So those that are not evenly sliced to my liking, I ate it. Okay, go ahead, Sri.
So when you go through these stages, George, are you doing any tasting just to make sure everything is going well, or how do you know things are cooking well, or is this just from experience?
From experience and from timing. I know how long I've been doing it, and I'm probably not going to try to do any tasting. And if I am going to do any tasting, I will probably get like, what is that noise? Something caught my attention here. Now, not you guys don't hear it. I started hearing like a humming, like a tea kettle. And I don't know why that noise is being heard in this pot. That was weird. Anyway, if I'm going to do any tasting, it's not going to be a lot. I probably would take like a saucer, and I might take like a smaller spoon, scoop some of it out, put it on the plate, and taste it that way. I'm never going to taste with the spoon I'm cooking with, because again, everybody else has to eat from this too, besides me, because I do share what I fixed. I know somebody's going to throw me a hint. No, and then again, like I said, from experience and years of doing it, I just know how much I need to add. And you know what? Sometimes I definitely do like the taste part at the end, because it's got to match what I want it to be. For the most part, I nail it. Every once in a while, I may not have put enough, and I may have to add a little bit more. And that happens when I'm going through my creaming process and when I'm almost done preparing this. And again, too, when I use at the beginning tree, I talk about like, you know, I'm just using smoked sausages because the other type of meat that you can put in here, I don't have. I meant to go to the store today to get them, but I had a little extra work to do during the day that ate up my time that I was going to use on my lunch break to go and get it for this presentation. And then I couldn't do it yesterday because, well, doesn't need to even go down that rabbit hole. But there's like different kinds of salt meat that you can purchase. I know down south we call them pickle meat, but if you ask a grocer or meat person, you know, where do you have like salt meat? It'll be like packages of meat that are like in chunks. Some have bones, some don't. And you would take that meat and I said fry it, but I guess you could use the word saute it for about in a skillet for like about about 2 to 4 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, whatever it takes. You don't want to burn it. You just want to basically just saute it enough for its flavor. Use like about 5 pieces, you know, depends on the size of your pot. You may need more. And then you can also use ham chunks. And, you know, same thing with it. Saute it, cook it, you know, don't want to burn it. And along with your smoked sausage, sometimes in New Orleans, some people use patent hot sausage also for flavor. And what having those different types of meat in the pot, the New Orleans style way would, because I guess that's what makes it New Orleans style, because of the different types of meat, they give it the flavor. You don't need to add that many spices. As a matter of fact, only thing, if I have all of those meat at my disposal to put in my pot of beans, I probably would only use garlic powder and onion powder. Probably wouldn't even need to use, well, I would probably use a little Tony sachets for that type of flavor, not much, but I wouldn't need any kind of salt at all because the salt would come from the meat that has been sauteed and put in there. And trust me, when you do that, it will be no need to do that. If you add any kind of salt, it will probably make it too salty. And one bad thing about adding too much salt in anything, it's hard to take it out, or it may be impossible to take it out. Adding water to something to probably loosen the saltiness of it, you also will probably lose the flavor. Okay, any other questions or comments? Because at this point, and while that's going, like you was mentioning about, you know, like anything else to go with this meal, since my beans are probably pretty much, Alexa, what time is it? 7:46. Man, I do a lot of talking. I need to be a broadcaster. Since my beans are probably about 20 minutes from being complete, maybe 25, because the next step is to probably just to cream them. This is when I probably would be preparing the other entree, you know, whatever it's going to be, baked chicken, fried chicken, maybe a breaded pork chop or something to go along the side of it, than just having the red beans and rice. And the rice will be done as well, because that don't take long at all.
Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, for Sri, 1 cup of red beans and rice with smoked sausage is approximately about 430 calories.
This is Sri.
Yes, Sri.
So that means I'm going to go eat, then I'm going to do some revision workout.
Is 450 calories a lot for one meal? I'm not a calorie counter, so I'm kind of ignorant to that. I probably should pay attention to it more since I'm just on the outer side of 35. You know what I mean? So I probably need to start watching it. But is 450 a lot for one meal? Any of your dietary specialists?
I don't think it's that much, but you know, rice, you know, we, like Sandy was saying, Indians eat a lot of rice, and it's got good starch and stuff, but it's also not, you shouldn't eat too much of it.
So, dumb question. So is the rice in India cooked different from the rice in the Orient, like China and Japan? Those also eat a lot of rice. So is all those countries prepare rice the same way?
This is Sri. When I went to Japanese restaurant, they seem to cook the rice, I would think the same way in some big pot. But I don't know the answer to the question really, but I mean, rice is rice to me.
I didn't prepare
Mike-
for that.
Michael?
It just popped in my head, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, there's Spanish
Mo-
rice.
Most Japanese use rice cookers. But there's different kinds of rice. So depending on, the kinds of rice can make a difference too, and the calorie count and the carb count. So
That's true. Because there's brown rice and jasmine rice and basmati rice.
So that fried rice at American Chinese places, is that would I have a different calorie count as well?
Maybe depending on what kind of rice it is. Because if they fry it, then that's one thing. But then if they steam it, that's another.
This is Julie.
Hey, Julie.
I tried yellow rice the other day and it's pretty good.
And then again, when you go get fried rice, like from the Chinese place, then we're probably messing up the healthiness because we putting soy sauce on it.
There's
Just
also
George does that.
Japanese fried rice. I'm sorry, Sri. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I didn't
Oh,
have
no.
anything to say. I'm just listening.
Oh, no, I was gonna say there's also Japanese fried rice. I don't know if it's done differently.
This is
Michael just
Jody.
said Japanese use cook rice in a rice cooker. Go ahead, Jody.
Yeah, I think that Japanese rice is, I think of as the sticky rice because it seems to have more gluten in it. It sticks together more. And then of course there's yellow rice and brown rice. And I think of brown rice as being used for fried rice.
It's Julie.
Uh-huh.
I found that if I rinse my rice, it seems to have less starch in it. I rinse
Yeah,
it
well-
prior to cooking.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Even the minute rice that I use, I
and
wash it.
Yeah, it tastes better.
This is Sri.
History.
I'm probably not exaggerating this too much, but for 39 years of my life, I probably had rice every day. And the greatest thing happened after I got married is I didn't have to eat rice every day.
Okay, I believe that because I've read some novels that were, I think it was one it was a World War II novel that I had read where it was about life after the bombing of Hiroshima, and that family ate rice every single day. It's just like, I like bacon, but I don't eat it every day. At least I try not to.
This is Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sri, that reminds me, my husband was Italian and every single meal he had to have spaghetti or some form of pasta. And when we got married, he said, I hate spaghetti and I never want to see it again. Of course, I'm Irish, so I had lots of potatoes. So
And like my mom, when she was here, I don't know what it was, but with every meal, and this is where we differ. Yes, she gave birth to me, but she had to have bread with every, if it was a plate dish, she needed bread. Like if I'm eating this Arabian rice, she wanted some toast that she can flip to go inside of it. I guess I'd take in place of the biscuit. If she was eating whatever meal it was, she had to have bread. I'm one of those, I don't necessarily need it. Just like when I go eat dinner and somebody say, you want a dinner roll? I may eat it and I may just pass it up. It's not something that I just have to have. The only time I need bread is when I'm eating a sandwich.
And so, George, this whole process, how long does this meal take to cook the way you're doing it right now?
Normally,
start to
it takes
finish?
about a little under 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, about 2 hours. Now, of course, I'm not doing the Instant Pot or the pressure cooker, stuff like that. I'm doing it the traditional way, the way that I was taught. And it doesn't bother me. Well, I guess because, by me, I like creating. And so the time I was mentally prepared for it, so it doesn't seem to be as long to me. Now, if somebody was here and probably smelled it, and if they're hungry, they're probably like, is it almost ready? Is it almost ready? I remember being like that as a kid, like with barbecue. If barbecue was taking place, I love barbecue so much, I'm ready to eat it now as soon as I smell it. but I know it's a process with that. But if I'm doing it, it doesn't bother me as much, for the time. But I am, since Sandy Googled it and find out, I am definitely intrigued enough to go out and get myself a gadget so I can try to see what it's like. And then I'm gonna probably, of course, get the recipe first to see what their instructions are. But then after I try it, then of course I'm probably like anybody else who prepares stuff. You make your own alterations as to how you may want it. Just like, and I promise one of these times, I am, and I'm sure everybody's going to chime, not everybody, but a lot more people might be chiming in too. I'm definitely still is on my list to teach myself how to make gumbo. And once I get that down, I got to try it. And once I do it enough, I'm satisfied enough with it, then I may present and say, okay, this is how we cook gumbo. Now, I may have to prepare some of that stuff way before then because gumbo is definitely a long process that we would never be able to. I guess the only way we'll cook it, you would never be able to cook it in time to cover 2 hours. I basically will probably come home and say what all I have done and the process, what I did, and take questions along the way. But I just got to practice it and do it first. Someone else that was asking or make a comment or had a question?
Yes, this is Julie.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to suggest if you want to check out a recipe for gumbo that you want to make, check out YouTube. They got all kinds of recipes.
Okay, and I'll do that, especially if the YouTube video, if they are articulating their steps enough that way, because I don't have any vision, I'm total. So I can't have somebody doing a YouTube video and says, okay, put this in like that. It's got to look like that. No, I need you to tell me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If I go to YouTube right away if I need to know how to cook something. And some of the recipes they'll just have it, show you how to do it. I like the ones that speak each and every step.
Right.
And it's wonderful. I made celery soup and it came out wonderful. I never made it before in my life. And yet there was a recipe. There's several there, but you just pick the one that works for you.
When I was 18, and I think I was at school, and I remember one of the cafeterias looked like every other day, they had celery soup. And I'm like, man, that just sounds so gross. That was back then when I probably wasn't eating. I probably had like 3 vegetables in my diet. But I think it was like maybe 5 years ago, somebody was cooking it one time. And I'm like, man, that smells like I might want to try it.
It's delicious.
It's like if it's cooked right, it's like it could be very good.
Oh, I was so happy with it. I made it like 3 times now since I know how to do it. It's simple.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's like, wow. I have another question. This is Julie. Does anybody have an idea which Instapot would be easier for a person with low vision to use? Which one of the Instapots do you know or more accessible?
I know there are some Instapots. I don't know. I think one time I saw some bad reviews about the Wi-Fi ones wasn't working too well. That sometimes they lose connection. I don't know if they made improvements with that or not. But I think some people have gotten Instapots and they put like Braille labels on the side of the buttons once they were told which buttons were what, and they took it from there. I don't know who's on here still.
This is Shree.
Shree.
I have the Wi-Fi Instapot that I can control it somewhat with my phone to start the cooking and stop the cooking. But like I said, I don't really stay in the kitchen that much, but I like looking at it through my phone, see how the process is coming along.
Okay, so you're not having any problems with your Wi-Fi. Okay, good.
I think I have a Philips. I think it's a Philips. It's got a little screen in the middle. I can't see the screen, but it's got about 5 buttons on each side, and it's got like 4 buttons in the middle. And the bottom indicator 4 buttons. There's the cancel buttons like on the button on the bottom right of the 4 buttons, and keep warm on the It's got and you might have to get a sighted person like tell you the little words on the buttons because I use Be My Eyes or Ira, like if
Mhm.
there's no one there.
Mhm.
Let me see the thing. So I have a person from the Be My Eyes app or the Ira app to tell me what it is, and then that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. It is
George?
7:59. Go ahead, Tree.
Well,
Or
how's the
who-
cleaning process now? You did a lot of cooking here. Like, is there a lot of things to clean up now?
Well, only thing I need to clean, well, I don't have to clean much because I did like some prepared stuff. But the only cleaning that I may do is the skillet that I was using to fry my smoked sausage. Of course, that definitely has to be clean. The utensils, like the big cooking spoon and the knife I use to cut, and the fork I use, I just need to wash that. Now the pot, of course, is not going to get clean until there are no beans in it. And then of course I got to wipe down my my stove from probably the steam that splashed and any grease that may have splashed onto the stove. So other than that, no, I kind of prepared for this, so I didn't have a whole lot. Now, if I was from the beginning, a lot of cleanup may come from when I chop up the greenery and putting all it in the food chopper and putting it into the little container and then taking the excess and throwing that away and wiping up the counter from that, or the thing I'm cutting on, the cutting board. That may be a big cleaning process that has to be done. But I already pre-chopped it up, so I didn't really need to do that.
This is Jody.
Go ahead, Jody.
George, could you repeat your email address?
My email address is GEORGE B as in boy ATTISTE @gmail.com.
Okay, did you get my email by any chance?
I have to check because I'm nowhere where I can check it right
Oh,
now.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it now. I got the right email address, but I sent you an
Okay.
email earlier.
Okay, I'll respond to you as soon as we end this.
Okay,
Somebody
thank
else
you.
was-
And thank
somebody
you for
else-
tonight. It was great.
Okay. Somebody else had
Looking forward
asked,
to
wanted to ask a
making it.
question. Who
I
else
think
besides
Sri was
Jody
there.
wanted to make a comment or a question? I guess that's it. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. I hope I've taught you something. I hope I intrigued you about something. Who's that?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, George. It
Yeah.
sounds
We
wonderful.
will.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, George. This was good.
Thank you,
Oh, I
George.
forgot you were there.
Good job.
Where's
just
my
been just listening.
sample?
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, George.
Yeah, I
Yay,
wish I
thank you.
could, send
Have
you
a
guys
good evening, everybody.
a bowl of all it is. That'd be cool.
Thank
Bet your
George,
house
next time
smells
I'm in
wonderful right about
Houston.
now.
Exactly. Hey, if we ever get past this pandemic stuff and we do stuff in person, I'd be happy to do a presentation with that in person.
That'd be great.
Be like one of those infomercials.
Okay, here's your song, George.
Yeah, that would be great.
Here's the song.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Let's hear it for Hank.
That's perfect.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right, George, our very own good-looking George. Thank you so much.
All right. See you guys next month.
Have a good one.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sonia and
Night.
Michael.
Night, everyone.
Thank you, George.